Well, the ANC in Gauteng has confirmed that it will today release the party's Provincial Integrity Commission's report into the personal protective equipment tender scandal implicating senior provincial officials. The Provincial Executive Committee met this weekend to discuss the report, and the PEC will brief the media on the recommendations of the commission and what action the party will take. The report will be released to the media after the PEC has met and discussed its recommendations and made a decision. You'll remember Gauteng Health MEC Dr. Bandile Masuku, his wife Luiso Masuku, and presidential spokesperson Kusela Tiko have taken leave of absence after they were implicated in the PPE tender scandal. I want to get a perspective now and some analysis. Professor Somadoda Fikeni joins us now live, a political analyst. Prof, always a pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and greetings to your viewers.
Give us the different scenarios here in terms of this report, in terms of public perception. No matter what the outcomes of this report, which way it goes, what do you think will be the state of play in terms of public perception here? Does it go one way or the other?
Well, I do think that ANC is already suffering from a massive credibility challenge and legitimacy crisis when it comes to fight against corruption, precisely because some of its very prominent leaders often feature prominently in some of the allegations. So if they so happen to say there is no conclusive evidence, therefore these members are acquitted, the public will say, what did you expect of? If they so happen to say we will censure them by actually warning them to be more vigilant, they are not directly involved, they will be told that it was a slap in the wrist. And if they so happen to say they are guilty, again, there'll be repercussions, because with local government elections, with the provincial leadership balance of forces and many other things in place and at play, you're likely to have these role players, as you saw with Qedani Mahlangu after the Life Acid Dimeni inquiry, that they continue to be influential behind the scenes.
There could very well be no evidence linking the three to any wrongdoing. How much of pressure is the ANC under, especially from the public, in order for some action in terms of allegations of corruption?
They are under tremendous pressure, because remember that when you lock everybody under siege of COVID-19 lockdown, and the country is facing, together with the world, an existential crisis, any corruption that takes place during that period tend to amplify even the challenges that were there before. So that is why this is understood to be the most sensitive period of any corrupt activity for the ANC, and the pressure on the president and the ANC to take action. But also, it is those who are aligned to the former President Jacob Zuma. They are watching very closely to see if there is consistency of treatment of those who are seen to be closer to the president when it comes to allegations or actual corruption.
So let's talk about the president's role in all of this and the impact on him. Alleged corruption related to the awarding of tenders to politically connected people. Will this, you reckon, Prof, be a litmus test for President Ramaphosa?
There is no doubt that he came at Nasrec on the platform of fighting against corruption. And this is probably the ultimate test as to what he's going to do. And also remember, South Africa and the president had received global accolades from none less than the World Health Organization for handling the matter so well. And the public was beginning to warm up to the president. His favorability was growing. All of a sudden, the COVID-19 PPE scandal came in and wiped out that particular credibility. So he has to claw back to that particular level by taking action rather than promising to take action.
Yeah. You know, I just want to test the temperature of views on the ground, and in terms of what this all means for votes, for the electorate. You know, when you look at the electoral system, or you look at what's happening in America, and you look at Donald Trump, one would say that his base is so secure that no matter what he does, they'll always be there for him. Coming here to South Africa, in terms of these allegations of corruption, in terms of action and inaction, depends on which side you look at it, are there people, fence sitters for instance, the undecided, that will be swayed here in South Africa one way or the other, depending on what the outcomes of certain reports and certain actions that the president takes of, with regards to allegations of corruption? What do you think?
There is no doubt that in South Africa we will be different from the US precisely because President Ramaphosa put corruption front, and center of his campaign. And not only that, the lending institutions are expecting that South Africa acts against corruption, because the perception that whatever you are injecting into the system is going to go the irregular way is actually weighing heavier. Ramaphosa per se doesn't have a core constituency like Donald Trump that you'd say it will die or live for him. He has managed to get support from a cross-section of people across the society who were hoping that in his ascendance, something that had happened under his predecessor would actually be changed. So if it so happened that he becomes ineffective in that sense, his political capital will be exhausted.
So what would you say will move the needle for people that are undecided? What decisive steps should the ANC be taking to encourage confidence in the party?
If ANC were to act against its own members in a decisive and consistent manner instead of the inconsistencies that we saw with the VBS, we saw with Zandile Kumede and so forth.
Yeah.
And not only that, if they were to openly encourage the law enforcement institutions to do their part without fear nor favor, because much of the heavy lifting now is left with the law enforcement agencies. And if you were to have former ministers or ministers taken in, tried, some of them imprisoned where they are found to be wrong, and their properties being confiscated, that's when the public will begin to say there seems to be some seriousness. Because most of the time, people who have been sacrificed are public servants, DGs, chief directors, and hardly ever the political heavyweights.
Political analyst Professor Somadoda Fikeni, as always, we appreciate your perspective, your analysis. Be well, sir.
Thank you.